You're listening to Rockford's only year-round show devoted to local high school and college sports. This is the State Line Sports Hour on News Talk 1440 WROK.
We continue on now with our Pigskin preview. Dave Schmidt, Matt Nestor, and producer Tom Warner. Right now, we're going to go over to a school that a lot of people are telling us they're going to keep an eye on this year, the Belvidere North Blue Thunder. And with us, head coach Jeff Beck. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Great. You know, last year I had a chance after that Boylan regular season game. That was one of the best games I saw last year. We taped you doing the post-game speech. After that game, I was a Jeff Beck follower. I mean, that was such a great thing. A lot of people have really enjoyed that film. You really have a lot of deep thoughts about your football team, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of really stress a lot of, putting a lot of thought and putting a lot of pride into what our kids do. In that game, I think it showed a couple things. I thought that it showed that our group of kids is able to fight. That game was a 17-0 game.
Yep.
Early in the second quarter. And before we had the lights go out, which some people say we planned, but I guarantee we didn't. We were kind of down in the dumps. Our kids, fought back and really, scratched and clawed to get back in that game. And we did. We took the lead late in the game, and I also think it showed, that we're not where we need to be yet because our kids, and our coaches, we weren't prepared enough to finish that one the right way. And that's, again, just kind of shows. And a ton of credit to Boylan. I mean, very good team. Obviously, they didn't give up either, and they were talented enough and they were disciplined enough to finish that game, and they got it. And we hope with our kids, another year in the program and our coaches, another year working with these kids, that this year that's a game that we get against anybody. That we get back into the game and take the lead. We can finish that one the right way.
Last year, it's your first year as a coach. Nobody really knows what to expect coming out of the team. How different is it going to be this year, because you guys did well last year, and so people are kind of looking at you guys to kind of go into a year with, either some expectations or people looking at you a little bit differently?
Well, we tell our kids that they have to prepare the same way, just like I'm sure most coaches would. Our kids know that there's some more expectations around them this year because of the little bit of success they had last year. This is a group of seniors that's been coming up, and there's been some excitement about, I think, in this school and this community for a couple of years. And we're trying, to tell the kids that, it doesn't matter what you did as freshmen, sophomores, juniors. It's about your senior year. We got a great group of seniors. We start, about 18 of our 22 starting positions are seniors. It's a great group of kids. There's 24 of them total, and they just bust their butt. Practice. In the weight room, it doesn't matter what it is, they get after it. And so we're again, trying to tell those kids that, what you did previously doesn't matter. You're always going to remember that senior season. We really try to focus on those kids making it their best one.
And a lot of those kids played last year. How much does that help coming into, your practices now getting ready for the first week to have starters back? Yeah,
I mean, it's an immense amount of help. Our kids kind of have an idea of what we do offensively, defensively, special teams. So it's more perfecting those techniques rather than teaching from square one, or building on what a junior kid learned as a sophomore. We have our program, I believe, heading in the right direction, with all three of our levels. And that's something that, before I got here, I'm not sure if there was always, that kind of continuity between three levels. And I really feel like we're moving in the same direction. So as our sophomores become juniors, become varsity players, we still have to build on what they know. But when you're a returning starter, and some of these kids 2-year returning starters as sophomores and juniors on the varsity level, we feel like we're really kind of just perfecting their techniques, and we're trying to be more advanced in what we do because they do have that experience.
It seemed like almost reckless abandon on offense. I don't mean that bad. I mean, you guys would try stuff and make some plays that I hadn't seen before at Belvidere North. Are you going to be that exciting this year, too, as well, Coach?
Well, we hope to score a lot of points, obviously, but we hope to be a little bit more balanced this year. I definitely no excuse. We had to go a certain direction last year because of injuries. Some certain key injuries at some certain points for us forced us to be more of a throwing team. And that's what we had to do, I think, to survive for a little bit. As the end of the season kind of progressed, we got a little bit more balance as some people came back healthy. And we really feel with some of our juniors that have sophomores that have came out to be juniors now, we have a little bit more depth at certain positions. So we hope to be more balanced, but we hope to be, just as explosive. And I've said in a couple other interviews, I hope to be a lot more consistent. Offensively, we had games where it looked like we couldn't be stopped, and then there were other games where we had a hard time getting going at the beginning of the game. If the defensive scheme did something different, than what we planned, we didn't adjust well. So those things we need to be better at handling, and we need to be more balanced. And obviously we got to play some better defense. That's just bottom line. Defensively, we weren't good enough last year.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because there's a lot of good offenses in the conference, and that's a place where Belvidere North has historically struggled. How is that side of the ball progressing so far in practice?
We like everything we're doing. Again, we like those kids we have coming back. 7 out of 11 starters over on the defensive side of the ball. Again, I think it just comes with being disciplined. Those kind of keys that you're teaching the kids and those things that you're teaching the kids, just reiterated and harped on all the time. And I think we do a great job of that. Our coaches do a great job of that in practice. And I see us getting better defensively each and every day we're out there.
Special teams, I know last year, I think Boylan ran back a punt or a kickoff in that ball game. It can turn a game around real quickly. How's the special teams going for the Blue Thunder?
Very good. I'm not trying to paint a picture like we're perfect in all three phases of the game yet, but special teams, we are farther ahead of where we were last summer. Last summer, we were installing a new offense and a new defense, and special teams, I think, kind of got pushed to the back burner sometimes. This year, I think our kids and our coaches feel a lot more comfortable in the offensive and defensive system, and we've been able to spend a lot more time on special teams. And again, we had a sophomore that became a junior who's our punter, is doing a great job. Our kicker, who came out late last year, he's also a soccer player. He wasn't eligible for us until the Harlem week. So in the beginning of the year, our place kicking game struggled a little bit. So he's been with us throughout the off season, and he's been with us throughout the summer, and we feel a lot better about where we're at special teams as well.
Is it going to be easier for you to get the kids to focus for that first game next week, knowing that it's Belvidere, or would you rather have anybody else on the schedule that first week?
Yeah, the schedule is obviously it's set. We can't determine who we play. I think that Belvidere game would be nice as a season ender.
Yep.
Just because of the the rivalry and the how much the community gets into that game. And it would be really great if it were at the end of the season, and hopefully at a point where it could mean something for both teams. Possibly a trip to the playoffs or something along those lines. But it's the beginning of the season. It's the first game, and we feel that it's a way to potentially start a very good season on the right foot, and that's going out and getting a big one. And we didn't do that last year. And that's something that we try not to focus on last season too much, but that's something we do remind our kids of. We felt like we had a good summer last year, but we went in that first game and really underperformed. And that's not, I don't think, was indicative of who our team is. So we're hoping, this year we want to keep reminding those kids of that and what happened last year, and make sure we start this year on the right foot.
And just how tough is it when you look at the conference this year, Coach? For so long it was just that big three up there, but you have you guys, Auburn, Guilford, and Belvidere has their tradition and history there as well. Just how tough is it going to be this year, where you could have a really good team but still maybe have 5 or 6 losses?
I think Auburn kind of showed that last year, and they had a handful of really close losses, to some good teams, and they were a heck of a football team. They ended up, missing out on the playoffs, unfortunately, but that was a heck of a ball team. I mean, I watched them play throughout the year and was really amazed at some of the things that they were able to do. And, I think that league is, the league is going to be like that again this year. I think there's going to be some hard-fought games that might be, 2 or 3 point losses for a team, but, I think it's a lot more, kind of evenly spread out this year. And I think that's something that's really cool for the league, to have a handful of teams that could be contending and a handful of teams that could be up there at the top, rather than just the big three.
Well, thanks so much, Coach, for coming on today. We look forward to that Belvidere North game is always a great game, so good luck in that, and thanks for taking some time today.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you having me on.
We've been talking to Belvidere North head football coach Jeff Beck, and they're one of the favorites because everybody brings them up when they talk about it.
Yeah, they are not going to be able to sneak up on anybody this year. They're not going to have a surprise game like the Boylan game last year. That's what people are going to expect in a lot of games, so it'll be interesting.
And that Belvidere, or that Boylan game was their coming out party.
Yeah, it was.
No more surprises
it really
from Belvidere.
Yeah.
We're going to take a time out. We're going to be back with more of our Pigskin preview here this morning. But first, a news break here on the State Line Sports Hour on News Talk 1440 WROK.